So today we'll see types of operating systems. Some of the most widely used types of operating systems are simple batch system, multi-programming batch system, time-sharing systems, desktop systems, parallel systems, distributed operating system, clustered system, real-time operating system, and handheld system. So let us look at each one of them. First, the simple batch system. So some of the features of simple batch system are reduce setup time by batching similar jobs. Now jobs here means programs. So user will write a program and submit to the system. Then the next feature is automatic job sequencing. Automatically transfers control from one job, that is one program, to another. These are also called the first rudimentary operating system. So before we go to resident monitor, let us understand the steps how it works. Then we'll go to resident monitor. So the user submit a job usually in a card to a computer operator. So the computer operator places a batch of several jobs on a input device. Jobs are batched together, that is jobs are grouped together by the type of requirement. For example, say a group of 10 programs or 10 jobs of the similar type are considered as one job. Then a special program. So here comes the concept of resident monitor. So the special program, which is also called the resident monitor, manages the execution of each program in the batch. So the control is transferred from one program to another program automatically by the resident monitor. So this is how batch system works. So if we have to consider, the main feature of batch system is the resident monitor, which transfers the control from one job to another. Next, let us go to the memory layout for a simple batch system. So if you see the diagram, this is considered to be a memory, and a part of the memory is reserved for the operating system. So when you start the system, or that is switch on the system, your operating system is loaded onto the main memory, and this is the main memory that is being shown in the diagram. And you will see that one part is reserved for operating system and another part is for the user program. So this is how a batch system memory layout works. Next, let us go to multi-program batch system. In case of multi-program batch system, you can see again the same concept. A part of the memory is reserved for the operating system. When you switch on the system, the operating system is loaded. That is the first process or the first program that will be loaded onto the system. So in this main memory, there are 4 jobs: 1, 2, 3, 4. And the concept of multi-programming is that the CPU switches from one job to the next job, then to the next job, and then to the next job. But how and when does it shift, or when does it switch? So for that, the basic concept of multi-programming we have to understand. So for that, we have to consider one program, and in a program there are two type of instruction. One instruction is the input output bound, and the second instruction is the CPU bound. So in the input output bound instructions are the one which requires input output operation, maybe reading something from the keyboard or printing something to the screen. So these are called input output bound instruction. And there are certain instructions which are CPU bound. For example, we need to do a calculation. For that we need the CPU. So that is how a program is divided into multiple input output instruction and multiple CPU bound instruction. So to utilize the CPU to its maximum, when a job requires an input output instruction to be handled, that is, as an example, we can consider job 1 needs a input output instruction. Maybe it may need to read something from the input device, for example in the keyboard. So in that case, the CPU switches from job 1 to job 2, and the job 2 is being executed. Now when there is a input output instructions coming in job 2, it switches to the job 3. So you can see that CPU is kept busy all the time. So that is the basic concept of multiprogramming. Input output being handled at the input output processor, and the CPU bound are handled by the CPU. So that is how the jobs switches from 1 to 2, then to 3, and then to 4. Some of the features for this that is provided by the operating systems are, as there are input output operation involved, so input output routine. Input output routine are nothing but input output programs provided in the operating system. So that will be handling all the input output request, whether that be reading from the input device like keyboard, or it will be printing something to the monitor. Then you can see the next is your memory management feature. As you can see that there are multiple jobs. If you go back to the diagram, there are multiple jobs, job 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to ensure that there is no overlapping, job 3 does not go to job 2's place, or job 1 does not go to job 4 place, there is a memory management is required. That is, the operating system controls which job will be stored in which part of the memory. For example, job 1 in this part, then job 2 will be in the second part, job 3 in the other part, and so on. One more important thing that is provided by operating system is the CPU scheduling. Now what is this CPU scheduling? In CPU scheduling, if we again go back to the diagram, we see that there are multiple jobs. Now who will be deciding which job to execute first, which job to execute second, then third, then fourth, and so on. So there is a scheduler program provided by the operating system. The job of the scheduler program is to see that which programs run first, which program run second, such that all of them get the chance and no one is left out. So the algorithms are there in the scheduler which are responsible for checking the jobs are executed in a certain order based on the scheduling algorithm. So we'll study about scheduling algorithm later in the course. And finally, one more feature is allocation of device. Now there are multiple input output device. So in such a case, your jobs may be requesting, that is 2 or more jobs may be requesting for the same device. So in such case, which job will be allocated which device is again under the control of the operating system. So that there is no conflict. A job, say for example job 1, job 2 requesting from for the keyboard, then the allocation of device, that is this keyboard, to the job 1 or job 2 will be done by the operating system. Next, let us look at time sharing system. In time sharing system, the CPU is multiplexed among several jobs that are kept in the memory and on disk. That is, there may be several jobs. For example, let us consider there are 10 jobs in the system. Then the CPU will be switching from first job to the second job, then to the third job, then to the fourth job. But how it is different? Because it is time sharing, so each of the job will be given some amount of time. For example, first job may be given 10 milliseconds, second job may be given again next 10 milliseconds, then the third job will be given 10 milliseconds, and so on. So when we complete for the 10th job, then it may again repeat first job again. So this will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 milliseconds each. That is 10 milliseconds of time is given to each of the 10 jobs. So starting with the first, then second, then third, then fourth, and so on till the last one. Then the process repeats. It will be again coming back to the first job, again 10 milliseconds till they complete their execution. And the job is swapped in and out of memory to the disk, because there may be a memory constraint. All the jobs may not be there in the memory, So in that case, jobs may be swapped in and out. So some jobs will be there in memory, some jobs will be there in disk. When the execution of the jobs in the memory is over, the jobs from the disk will be taken and put in the memory. Also, online communication between the user and the system is provided. When the operating system finishes the execution of one command, it seeks the next control statement from the user keyboard. So in such system, the user input through the keyboard is required to shift the execution of one job to another. So first job once completed, the user will be using the keyboard to control the next job or start the execution of the next job. So this is how time sharing system works. Next, we will see desktop system. Desktop system are personal computers that you are using nowadays, and they have a dedicated keyboard, mouse, display screen, and printers. They are running the operating system like Windows, Mac, Unix, Linux, and they are very convenient and responsive for use. Now, because these are for a single user system, often handled by a single user, so they don't need advanced CPU utilization and protection features. So this is about desktop system. In the next video, we'll see about parallel systems.